This is BNN, the Bloviation Nation Network.
It's election season once again, and time for It's the Great Trumpkin, Charlie Beige, brought to you by Little Betsy's Snack Cakes, the preservative-laced snack food that's a favorite in shithole countries and disaster areas around the world. When disaster strikes, send them Little Betsy's. Now let's see what the Walnuts gang is up to this time.
Dear Great Trumpkin, I'm getting scared again that maybe you'll show up. But if you do, I hope you bring me lots of presents on day one, like deporting anyone who looks like they could eat pets, bringing sexual abuse into the mainstream, restoring and reclassifying free speech as inexpensive speech, and making election outcomes secure and predictable, as long as you win. Oh yeah, and lower taxes for the rich.
Who are you writing to, Leo?
Well, Charlie, like every election season, this is the time of year to write to the Great Trumpkin. Around Halloween night, the Great Trumpkin rises out of a neglected patch of voters who want to believe in a political strongman. He flies through the air to different events all over the country, telling scary conspiracy stories to anyone who's mad enough to listen or just likes to believe in scary stories.
You're out of your mind. When are you going to stop believing in such absurdity?
When you start believing that the 1950s were the best time in American history for all Americans.
For women and minorities?
Well, mostly just for white Protestant men.
We are obviously separated by political differences.
You must get discouraged because every Halloween it's another witch hunt. How come when they're hunting for witches, they always find you? Go away, Snuffy.
Not again. You're not writing another letter to the Great Trumpkin.
Go away, Lucinda.
You embarrass me. All anyone talks about is my little brother, who always writes to the Great Trumpkin. You're wasting your time. He's a fake. He's not real.
Everyone says that you are a fake, but I believe in you. P.S. If you are a fake, don't tell all your supporters. They really don't want to know. As always, I'll leave some Halloween treats for when you come by, and something for Melania, even though you know you can never make her show up.
And how do you think you're going to get that letter to the Great Trumpkin? I'm not helping you.
Well, Lucinda, Worthless Stock said he'd help me get it out quickly on Truth Social while it's still there.
So, I think we have a quorum here. So, what do you say?
It is.
What do you say we call this meeting of the Dullards Club for Men to order?
I think that'd be a fine idea.
Hey, I was just perusing my feed the other day.
Oh,
You know how you toggle through, you thumb your way through the various stories that come up either on your computer or the telephone, as we like to affectionately call it.
I think
Well,
you could say phone. And
We
people
could
would
say
know.
we could say phone. Anyway,
Smartphone.
I think
Or do we
the
have dumb phones? Yeah,
I think the algorithm, which is the god of all social media,
sure.
is I think it's been diagnosed with ED. No,
Oh, I want to see where this is going.
maybe not the one you're thinking of. I'm talking
okay.
about early dementia.
Thank you. I'm glad you clarified.
It must be early. I don't think that the algorithm has been around all that long, so it wouldn't be like later the just in time dementia, which is what I suffer from.
Well, what was the trigger that prompted this reaction?
An ad came up on the feed just in some kind of a sequence,
What a surprise.
and the ad was for saddle pads,
Saddle pads.
as in things that you put on a horse before you put the saddle on. And I just do not know where that association was made.
Yeah, I was just going to say, how the hell did you get that? What do they know about you that we don't?
or that I don't, for that matter. Well, I don't know. Hey, speaking of horses, and again, this is kind of a free flow of nonsensical information.
Sure.
But do you ever think what a good name is for a horse? I mean, horses have different names than, say, dogs or cats.
That's true. Where the hell did Trigger come from for that?
Well, exactly. Trigger was Roy Rogers'
Yeah.
horse, and Fury was, I don't know who belonged to Fury, but then there was Flicka.
Oh, my friend Flicka.
My friend
sure.
Flicka, of course. And
who was Colonel Potter's horse on Unmashed? He referred to them occasionally.
It's Elsie, Bessie, something like that. It was a woman's name. And then there's Silver, which
Hi-ho,
can only be
Silver.
said with a high O in front of it.
Sure.
But
And
basically, what I'm
Mr. Ed,
saying,
come on, how can we forget the best?
oh, Mr. Ed. So basically, what I'm saying is I've got nothing today. So should we take a break? One last thing before we go.
Yeah.
It's something I was pondering the other day. How can you tell the top from the bottom on an English muffin?
Oh, you can definitely tell it.
You can't definitely tell it. I mean,
It depends upon the brand.
It does. Okay. So
Yes.
is there a brand that has a well-defined top and well-defined bottom?
I think so, because the problem
specific
is
brands.
the generic supermarket brand, generally speaking, you really can't. You can sort of see which side is more burnt, maybe.
So
But
now you know where we do our shopping.
Right. And if you make the mistake of spending twice as much for a pack of Thomases, they are tapered. It looks like if you held a profile, there's a fatter bottom and a little smaller top.
You've
And
really
they're
gotten into this.
They're meant to be fork split. So you take a fork and you poke around and then open them up. One side is a little smaller than the other. The smaller side is the top.
Okay. Well, does it
That
matter how
said-
you split it?
That said, it's a pain in the ass because either way, they're all shrunk down and they're useless and they're overpriced, and that's it. But I think in general, that I had to correct you on that one. I think there is a top and a bottom on Thomas's only that I can tell.
Oh, okay. So now,
Yeah.
now we're getting a plug, and I'm sure Thomas is going to be writing to us as saying, "Okay, how much can if you just say it a couple more times, we'll pay you the big bucks."
Well, the problem is that I dissed them after I mentioned them, so that is going to work too well for money.
Yeah, that's we seem to fall into that trap
Many
many times.
Maybe we'll edit that part out.
Hamburger buns, you can tell. You can always tell a hamburger bun, tops and bottoms. And bagels, most of the time you can tell the top from the bottom. All right, buddy, we need to take a break.
We beat this to a pulp, to a
We
fine. We needed KNEADED that subject to oblivion.
We are
Let's take
going
a
over.
break.
Yeah, we're gonna go. We'll be back.
All right.
You can count on that.
Fair enough.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that launched from Cape Canaveral aboard a new spaceship. The ship was a Boeing prototype and no one was quite sure if it could launch them into space for an 8-day tour. An 8-day tour. The launch went off without a hitch, but later damage caused, like pressure leaks and failed controls. The mission could be lost. The mission could be lost. So join us here each week, my friend. They'll be there for a while through Labor Day and Christmas too. They'll need some help getting home from Elon Musk and the SpaceX crew to get those two off of ISSR.
Hey, we're back for and you probably recognize us as those radio relics. We hold a meeting like this about once a week where we discuss things that some may consider dull, and yet we feel compelled to mention them anyway.
Dull is in the eye of the beholder.
It is. It truly is.
Another one bites the dust.
A couple of things that just came up as we were off the air, so to speak, were some closings of some What
Oh,
are some
businesses. You know
what do we
what?
call them? Some venerable businesses that that
Well,
used to be very
yeah,
substantial and very significant in our lives, and now they are not.
yeah, seemingly well-established companies that may not be totally closing, maybe restructuring,
Hmm.
filing for some form of bankruptcy, or just closing a whole ton of stores,
Right.
which leads you to wonder why. The economy now is turning around, getting better, but
It's better, but it's different, and I think that's again, I not that I could explain it to anybody, but I think if we just kind of look around, open our eyes, we realize that things are not the same. People do
no,
things differently now, and
remember
a
the
good
days,
example of that
yeah, go
is
ahead.
is True Value stores.
The hardware
The
store, yeah.
hardware store. True Value is going to be closing stores, but they're taking an interesting approach to it. Instead of just closing the stores, they're going to wait until Charlie, the old guy
Oh
in the
God, I
overalls.
forgot about
They
him.
only who they have one in every True Value store. He knows where everything is. If you
Yeah.
walk in, you say, "I want a number 5 washer, galvanized." He'll walk you right over to the right drawer, pull it out. He said, "How many of these do you want?" "I want 3 of them." "All right. Well, you got to have 3. Okay, they're 2 cents a piece. Here you
I'm
go.
just gonna say that's nine
Puts
cents
them
and
in a
three.
little bag, and then you walk out. I mean, you can't do that at Home Depot.
No,
You can't find anybody who knows anything, or if somebody does know something, they don't want to talk to you. So as soon as
aisle
you look up,
six.
and you say, and you have this anticipation. Oh, wait a minute, they're coming. They're coming here. Maybe they can help me. And then they see that you need help,
And
and
they
they
veer
look
away.
away off to something else. But no, Charlie is really what True Value is all about. And so what they've decided to do is to wait until one day they'll walk in and Charlie will not be there anymore,
Oh.
and then they'll close the store. So
Oh, on
we've
that
got
note, we should probably bring some music on.
yeah, I think that the music is just about ready to come into our lives here.
Rear its head, as it were.
So I guess this meeting is adjourned, right?
Well, I'm unclear whether it was ever called to order.
Well,
But
no, this
if
meeting
it
was
were,
called to
yes,
disorder.
if
but
it was called to order, and we've exhausted certainly what was in my head.
we
So,
pretty much have.
yeah,
But if you, on the other hand, have a mundane, odd, or
yeah.
uninspired
Oh, yeah.
daily routine, or otherwise you seek the comfort of repetitive sameness, if you bore others on a regular basis with soliloquies on how to properly butter toast or traffic light etiquette,
Yes, indeed.
or which stooge, excluding Baby Joe Besser, please, do you think you're most like? Well, then
Yeah.
you should consider joining the Dullards Club for Men. And if you'd like to do that, or maybe you have an idea for something that we should be talking about at our next meeting, or perished the thought you'd actually like to be included in the taping of an upcoming meeting episode of this award-seeking show, send your thoughts to boring at thedullardsclub.com. And who knows, your ideas, which we'll almost certainly steal, or your actual presence could be included in the next club meeting agenda. So whether we use your ideas or not, you'll receive a vaguely worded, uninspiring certificate on grayish paper signifying that you are sufficiently vapid so as to be considered a full member in average standing in the Dullards Club for Men, or
And
the Women's Auxiliary if it's appropriate.
I think it's quite profound that you had to say grayish paper.
Hey, we have to go now, right?
Yeah,
Do-
we
do
should have.
We should have to go. So hey, have a great week, everybody. Keep those ideas coming, and as we like to say, stay dull.
Do you have a curtain in front of your microphone?
A curtain.
Like there's a part of my picture of you instead of a clean square screen is like it's like your screen is melting.
Let me just.
Camera lens. I bet there's something. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
That's
that's what
better. I
Yeah,
don't know
that-
how far back that was in play.
Yeah. Well, let me see you later.
That's the old-fashioned fade to black.